Today we're making one of the most well-known Greek desserts, baklava. I'm Nikki Glekis, and this is Nikki's Modern Mediterranean. To get started on making our baklava, we're gonna make the filling. So you can make this on many different variations. Some people use different nuts. Today I'm gonna use toasted almonds and toasted walnuts. So we're gonna use our food processor. I have 3 cups of toasted walnuts. I just toasted them in the oven. Put those in there. 3 cups of toasted almonds. We're gonna put 1/4 of a teaspoon of clove, nutmeg, and cinnamon. So this will give it a really delicious flavor. So we'll put that in there. 1 tablespoon of just white sugar. And 4 tablespoons of melted butter. So we're gonna pour that in there. We're just pouring all of our ingredients together and we'll mix that. So my mother-in-law has a little secret ingredient. She uses 1 pack of a maple syrup butter cookie it's a breakfast cookie that you can buy at a market. So she adds that into our mixture. So I'm just gonna take 1 pack, it's 4 cookies. I'm just gonna add this in here. I mean, really, everybody makes their baklava different. They use all different variations of the same ingredients, butter, cinnamon, sugar. So we'll put that in here, close that up, simple as that. So our mixture looks great. I've blended all of this up. This is looks so good, nutty goodness. Unfortunately, I don't get to make baklava too much at home because my kids are unfortunately allergic to nuts, but I do make this at work very often, and I'll make it for special occasions. So look at that. The butter is combining all the ingredients, which is gonna taste delicious with our baklava. And now our mixture is ready, and we're gonna go grab our phyllo so we can layer baklava. We have all our ingredients out. We're ready to assemble our baklava. Today I'm just using a regular Pyrex pan that I have. It's 9.5 by 13. I don't recommend using anything smaller, but a normal baking sheet that you have at home, baking pan, is totally fine. I'm using 2 boxes of phyllo. So this one is number 7, and on the box it says 10 to 12 sheets. So I'm gonna use 2 boxes of that. So that will be about 24 sheets. And I'm gonna divide it into 3s for our layering. So I'm gonna use 8 sheets on the bottom, 8 sheets in the middle, and then 8 sheets on top. Don't get hung up on which phyllo you use. If you use a number 4 and it has 24 sheets, you could just use that 1 box. So you can really play around with whatever phyllo that you use, just really kind of divide the number of sheets into 3, okay? So I have our 2 sticks of butter that I've melted, and we're gonna get started. We're gonna butter the bottom of our pan, a generous amount of butter, and go all the way around on the sides. You really don't skimp on butter here with all of these desserts. When you're cooking with phyllo, you really want to be able to butter each sheet. So we're going to take our first sheet of phyllo, lay that down. It's going to drape over the edges, but don't worry, we're going to cut it at the end. So I'm going to press this down and make sure you get to the corners. So press that all the way down, lay this on the top here, and we're going to butter each sheet. Put that, make sure you get to the edges. I'm gonna lay this down here. Now, when you're doing this, if 2 of your sheets of phyllo get stuck together, don't worry. Just put those 2 sheets down, and you can just poke with a little knife a few slits on the top of the phyllo, and then that way when you butter it, the butter will go down to the 2nd sheet. So if it sticks together, don't worry, just make sure you put extra butter and poke a little bit, some holes in there. So we're gonna drape this over, butter this. So now we're on our 2nd sheet. Remember, I'm gonna do 8 layers on the bottom before I do our mixture. Going all the way to the corners. And I'm sure you've seen different variations of people, the way they make baklava or the way they roll it. Some people will take the sheet, put the filling, and roll it. No wrong way. Just have to, it's basically all the same ingredients. So now I've buttered my 8 sheets on the bottom, and we're gonna take half of our filling here, and sprinkle this all over. You're gonna spread it all the way. Make sure you get to the corners. And you're gonna do an even layer here. All this nutty goodness, we need to make sure we get up to the edges. That looks about half. So I'm gonna spread that out all the way to the corners so that the corner pieces don't miss out. It smells so good. Okay, ready for the next round of phyllo. So I'll put another 8 sheets. After seeing how labor intensive this is, I hope you really appreciate how delicious baklava is. Put those sheets down. So I've buttered our second layer of our 8 sheets, and we're gonna use the second or the rest of our mixture and evenly distribute that. And now the rest of our phyllo. Press that down, just like we did all the other sheets. Butter the top, of course. And our next step, I'm gonna butter up all the sides. And our next step is to cut around the edges. I'm gonna take a small knife and we're just going to go to take all this phyllo all the way to the edge here. And we're just gonna cut right at the top of our, there we go. We're just gonna try to cut all of these edges around, all of this excess phyllo, so that we can make it look really nice. So we're just gonna go around, all the way around, so that I can pull it off. Starting in the corners, because remember, I wanna make sure that we don't neglect our corner pieces. I'm just gonna cut it straight. So that rips off nice and easily. All of this will be excess. So now we've cut all of our excess phyllo, put this on the side. Our next step is we're gonna take our fingers and you're going to press down the edges so that it goes down into the pan. So like this, so you could see. And you're gonna press so that each piece goes all the way to the corner, but you wanna get these edges that we just cut, we want them to go down to the bottom of the pan. And then you're gonna press it to go to the edges. So this is our baklava, a little bit more butter on the top. Just wanna get all the way around. And we're almost ready to bake. The last step is cutting it before you bake it. So I'm gonna go wash my hands and then we're gonna cut our baklava. Here's how we cut the baklava. You always wanna cut it before you bake it in the oven. So here's our baklava all buttered. I'm gonna take a sharp knife and we're gonna do this in 3 even pieces. So I'm gonna just kind of draw the line to see if they're even. Yep, and I'm gonna go take my knife down and slowly move your knife on an angle so that you don't lift the phyllo. So we're gonna go all the way down to the edge. Again, down on the tip of your knife and slowly move it. Don't lift your knife up and down because it's gonna pull the phyllo up with your knife. So we wanna go in small, little tiny strokes up and down. Now we're gonna do 4 even lines across. So again, same thing, take your knife, tip down, and you can hold the phyllo like this so that it doesn't lift when you're cutting it. So you hold the pieces and go all the way to the edge. So we're making squares first. Perfect. So now we have 12 squares. Next, we're gonna do triangles. We're gonna go across. So from the edge, and you're gonna go across evenly. And again, hold down your phyllo so that we can make triangles. Now we're gonna have 24 pieces of baklava. So we're gonna continue that pattern all the way to the corner. All the way to the corner. Now, my pan has rounded edges, so these two little corner pieces are not exact triangles, but that's okay. Perfect. Now we have 24 triangles. So our last step before we put this in the oven is we're gonna take whole cloves. So cloves will do two purposes. One, adds a little decor, but also it's gonna add the element of holding down the phyllo. When you bake it in the oven, it holds the phyllo down so it doesn't lift up when it's cooking. So you're gonna put them right in the center of each piece. And I'm sure you've seen baklava when you buy it with the clove in the center. So you're just gonna push them down into the center of each one. And remember, I buttered this before I cut it and put our cloves in the center of each piece. So I've placed our 24 whole cloves in the center of each piece of baklava. So we have nice sized triangles here, and this is what we would serve if you were having people over and it was your main dessert. But if you were having multiple desserts, my entertaining brain always wants me to have mini desserts. So I would take my knife and cut another triangle down this way, and I would have 48 tiny bite-sized pieces of baklava that everyone can enjoy with the other desserts that you're serving that night. So I'm gonna take this and put it in our preheated oven at 375 degrees. So we're gonna put our baklava in the oven and we're gonna cook till golden brown. So while our baklava is cooking, we're gonna make our syrup. So for our syrup, we're gonna do high heat, 3 cups of water, 3 cups of sugar. We're gonna add 1 cinnamon stick, lemon peel, 1/2 cup of honey. So it's gonna make it extra sweet and delicious. About 6 whole cloves of garlic, and 1/4 teaspoon of vanilla. And we're gonna let this cook until our sugar has completely dissolved, and we're waiting for our baklava to cook. Oh, this looks amazing. Our baklava is nice and golden brown. This took about 40 minutes. I'm gonna take it out. I've taken the baklava out of the oven. It is piping hot right now. So you can either let the baklava cool and add hot syrup, or today I've cooled the syrup, so I'm gonna pour it over our hot baklava. So I have our syrup that we made earlier. I just removed the lemon peel, clove, and cinnamon stick. And I'm gonna pour that right on top of the baklava. Look at that. I can smell the cinnamon, the clove. That looks great. And once this has absorbed and cooled, it'll be ready to be served. Our baklava has completely cooled, and I know it looked like that was a lot of syrup that I poured on top, but as you can see, the phyllo absorbs all of that syrup, and now it's just delicious goodness. So let's try to taste this. We're gonna cut into this baklava. Look at that. Oh, so good. Nice and syrupy. Get all the nuts. Reminds me of my childhood. It's so delicious. For the full recipe, visit nikkigleckis.com, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Today we're gonna make these amazing baklava bites. I'm Nikki Gleckis, and this is Nikki's Modern Mediterranean. When entertaining, sometimes making that big baklava pan looks really overwhelming, and I like to have mini bite-sized desserts when I'm serving a variety to my guests. So I like to make mini baklava cups. So to get started with this, we have our filling that I made from baklava on a previous episode. It's just toasted walnuts, almonds, butter, nutmeg, cinnamon, sugar, and clove. So we mix this together and then we're gonna get started with our cups. So I have phyllo left over from another recipe, and I'm just gonna cut this in about 3 by 3 squares. I'm gonna cut this down. And I know you've seen me do this on other episodes when I made fig and brie bites. So this is always a great thing to do with any leftover phyllo. If you're making one of my other recipes and you have some phyllo left over, you can make these little cups. And now we have melted butter. So what I'm gonna do is take one of our sheets, lay it down on the cutting board, butter that sheet completely, take another sheet and turn it the other way. So then it's kind of in a diamond, butter each sheet, and continue the process until we make about 6 sheets I'm gonna do. You're gonna continue making these little phyllo and butter. And we're gonna take our baking sheet here, a little mini muffin pan. Make sure we put butter at the bottom of each one, kind of just butter that down. You can use spray too if you like for this. I'm just using the melted butter since I already have it. And you don't want them to stick to the pan. So we have our butter in our pan. And when you take your phyllo, and then put it in the center and just push it down to make your little cup. And there you go. We're gonna continue that for all our little muffin pans, and then we'll add our nut mixture. So I've made our little phyllo cups. They're nice and buttery, and I'm ready to put our nut mixture. So I'm just gonna take a tablespoon and put that in each little cup. This is such a great little dessert for everybody to get a little taste of baklava, but not a giant piece. I filled our baklava cups and we're ready to put them in the oven, 375 degrees until they're a little golden brown. Our baklava bites have cooked for about 12 minutes, nice golden brown, they look awesome. So I'm gonna take our hot bites, and I have some cooled syrup that I made earlier, and I'm just gonna put this right on top, and the phyllo is gonna soak up all of this honey that we're pouring on top, and you can already see that it's getting soaked up, and these are gonna be amazing. Your guests will really be wowed by these desserts. I'm just gonna keep pouring some syrup on there because this phyllo will really absorb it. Pour this all on, this one. They look great. So once they've fully cooled and absorbed the syrup, they'll be ready to be served. My baklava bites have completely cooled, and when I'm setting up a dessert display, I always recommend using different heights or different platters to give your display a wow. So I've displayed our baklava bites on 2 different height towers here. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. For the full recipe, visit nikkiglekis.com, and don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Today we're gonna make these individual baklava cheesecake in a phyllo cup. To get started on making our mini baklava cheesecake bites, we're gonna start with our simple syrup on the stove. So whenever you're doing these Greek recipes, you always wanna have either hot pastry and cool syrup or vice versa. So start with the simple syrup. It's equal parts water and sugar. You're gonna put honey, lemon, and cinnamon stick, but all of that's on the recipe is on the website and on my YouTube channel. So we're gonna get started with our fillings. First, our baklava filling. So here we have crushed walnuts. We have a cinnamon cookie we crushed up. We have 1/4 cup of sugar, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and 1/4 cup of melted butter. So I have extra melted butter because I need it for our phyllo. So pour that in. So this is our baklava mixture. So now that we have that ready, we're gonna leave that on the side. And we're gonna get our cheesecake filling ready. So our cheesecake, we have 8 ounces of cream cheese, 1/4 of a cup of sugar. We're gonna use our hand mixer to get this blended together. Next, we're gonna add our egg and our vanilla. So we're gonna do our egg and our vanilla. So like that. And those are all our ingredients for our cheesecake. So now that we have all our ingredients ready, we're gonna make our baklava cups. So I have here a muffin tin and a sheet of phyllo dough. So we're gonna take our butter here. So I'm gonna make some big squares here because I want them, I'm gonna cut this one like this. Okay, so now I'm gonna take butter the piece of phyllo, and I'm gonna put it right into our little muffin tin. But we're gonna use many layers. So we're gonna lay them on different angles. So to make these little phyllo cups, we're using about five layers. You could do 6, whatever you feel like it, but you wanna have a good layer of the phyllo so that it can hold all our other ingredients. So we're gonna repeat that, and we're gonna get the whole, all of the little muffin tins done. Now that we made our phyllo cups in our muffin tin, now we're gonna fill them. So first we're gonna take a spoonful of our walnut mixture in each one. Now that we have them filled with the baklava mixture, next we're gonna take our cheesecake. So we're gonna do a spoonful of the cheesecake mixture in each one. So we filled each one with our cheesecake filling. Now we're gonna take a little bit more of our walnut mixture. Just kind of put a little bit on top for each one. This is definitely a decadent dessert. Great for parties because it's little bite-sized, little mini ones, which is a little less filling than doing a big tray. Look at these. These are adorable and so beautiful. So now we've preheated our oven at 350, and I'm gonna pop these in the oven for about 20 minutes. And then we're gonna come out and pour our cold syrup on top. So we baked these for about 25 minutes. They look nice golden brown color. And now we have our cold syrup. I'm gonna put about a spoonful in each one. And the walnut mixture inside, and the phyllo is gonna soak up the syrup. These look perfect. I'm ready to serve. This, I would totally make this instead of doing a big baklava cheesecake. I would make this for a party, any kind of event that you're having, or a holiday, just because then that way people can get a different taste of all different desserts. And this one, I can't wait to dig into. So for the full recipe, visit nikkigleckis.com, and don't forget, like, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram for more entertaining tips. When you're making a big tray of baklava, it's always great to have different ways of serving it. So today I'm going to show you an easy way to make a baklava sundae. So you're just going to take your favorite ice cream. Here I'm just using Breyer's vanilla. I'll take a big scoop of this. Right in the center. Maybe we need 2 scoops. Who doesn't love ice cream? Put that right on top. That looks good. And then we're going to take a piece of baklava. I'm just going to take the clove out and chop that up. The syrup and everything is going to be so good on the ice cream. And this is really refreshing for the summer because sometimes baklava could feel pretty heavy and this makes it a little bit lighter. So we'll put this around. All the pieces. Oh my goodness. Look how delicious this looks. We have all of that, a little chocolate syrup. And at EOS, when we would make a big tray, this was almost equally as popular was the Baklava Sundae. This Baklava Sundae is ready, and I'm gonna dig in before this ice cream melts. Nice and refreshing. For the full recipe, visit NikkiClaucus.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.